Hey everyone, it's Nick again, and we are here to keep learning about my project today. So we've learned how to set up a file, how to set our options up. Now it's time to finally start entering activities into project. So before we go start inputting activities in the project, there's a key setting that we want to make sure we understand and adjust. So you'll see right here, I'm back in my project file, and I'm back on the task pane. So there are two ways to input task into Microsoft Project. There's manually scheduled, and then there's automatically scheduled. So manually scheduled, it's kind of like do-it-yourself scheduling. You can put your task in, and you've got to add all the information to it. You've got to add the duration, start date, end date. A lot of folks might think that, yeah, that's kind of basic scheduling, but the whole point of project is that there is a second function that allows you to do so much more with it. That's called automatically scheduling. So you put in a task and it automatically will infill the duration, start and end date based on any predecessors or other information about the project. So when you work in Microsoft Project, it will automatically have this configured for you. So on your screen here, if you go down to the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see that, probably not because it popped out of the screen recording here, that this will pop down and you can either have automatically scheduled or manually scheduled. So for instance, I just selected manually scheduled. So any task I input now will be manually scheduled. So if I say test task 1, notice it doesn't give me any duration, it doesn't give me a start, doesn't give me a finish. And you'll see this little icon right here with a little push pin. It'll say more information is needed. That's because it's manually scheduling it. Now if we go down here to change to automatically scheduled, let's try that test task again. Notice that gave us a duration populated and then a start date. That start date is based off of our project information up here of when the project is expected to start. So that's basics of setting manually versus automatically scheduled task. So when you're working in Microsoft Project, for most purposes, I recommend you are automatically scheduling your task. You want this program to work for you. Manually scheduled can be nice if you're trying to make static information, or maybe you don't have all the information, you're trying to take some notes of stuff you need to include there. But if you're trying to build out a sequence and create a schedule, you're going to want to use automatically scheduled tasks. So down here in this little bottom corner here, you want to hit that. There's a little drop-down menu that I'm sure is popping off the screen for y'all watching this, but you'll want to make sure you select Auto Schedule Task. Then every task you go in and put from there will be forward. So moving on. Actually, let's start creating some tasks. So you guys saw me enter the first two. Very simple to enter a new task. You just select the task name field and you input a task name. So for instance, if we were to make the task around making a bowl of cereal. So you might say, get a bowl out of cupboard. Then you need to fill bowl with cereal. Maybe you add some milk to the cereal, and then you eat it. So we got 4 quick tasks right there. That were all automatically scheduled, but you notice that they don't have any information to them yet. They all just say 1 day, question mark, all very basic level yet. We're going to get to linking these tasks and making them make sense later when we talk about relationships and how to link tasks, but to give you a quick preview of what that looks like, this predecessor field is what that'll do. So just for simplicity's sake in this, to demonstrate how auto task works, so if we say this is our first task, we say that task 4 is the first one, so that one doesn't have any predecessors. But say fill bowl of cereal, task 4 needs to be done first. You'll see here that this task automatically scheduled itself and updated it behind get the bowl out of a cupboard. Same thing works if you do the next one. So if you go 5 and 6, you automatically create yourself a link of activities because they're automatically scheduling and updating as you go. We're going to talk much more on task management and relationships in future videos, but be excited for that to come. So What if you have a task that is a milestone? Your milestones are significant events, information transfers, or oftentimes major relationships or handoffs on a construction project, and you need to capture those as a activity on here. So the way you would do that is there's a couple different ways. You can go to task and go up here to, you can see up here you have insert milestone. So you have a new milestone getting inserted here. So we'll say bowl of cereal complete. You'll notice a milestone is represented by a diamond and it doesn't have any duration. Milestone activities are summary, kind of just points in time. They're not actual activities that have a duration yet. You can also create a summary task, which will capture all the information happening below it. So it's in the same place up here. You go to summary, and you'll notice it indented this get the bowl out of a cupboard, and it said new summary task. It said, I'm going to name this making a bowl of cereal. So what that's capturing is that all the information below it that is indented. So when you add a summary task, it's only going to take the first one, but say all these items that are a part of that, we can select all of those and then go to indent task right here. You'll notice they all fell underneath that making a bowl of cereal field right up here. What we're doing when we're kind of creating these levels of indentation, they can go a couple layers deep too. So maybe if like for add milk, we need to add a couple tasks to that. So in order to get the milk, we'll move those right. Did forget that when you go to insert task, you want to select the task right below it and they come in right above it. So say to get the milk, we need to get in the car and buy milk at store. And we need to summarize those. You'll notice those then become sub items of that milk is level up there. So you can create a couple different layers of task in it. And what this is doing is this is creating your work breakdown structure for your project. So in construction, a lot of times you divide an area up by square footage. You know what? So you might have like an office area here. So like let's say we have an office and then you have a level 1, level 2, level 3. All those become your different areas of your project. Summarized up under office, and then maybe say under your office task here, you have a couple different tasks. You have maybe, for instance, your typical task, frame walls, MEPF roughing, inspections, drywall walls. Very typical of that. And then those all would become some parent task underneath level 1. When you're doing that, what you're doing is you're creating a work breakdown structure for the project. So your office being the highest level of the project, and then your level 1 is the first area you're defining, then you're defining the task underneath it. Microsoft Project supports that very well. So what you'll need to do to show your WBS column is you'll want to go up here to and hit insert column. Scroll all the way to the bottom to WBS. And you'll notice it's automatically populating numbers for your WBS for the project. So a lot of times it does it based off of levels of hierarchy and information. You'll notice that office was captured underneath this making a bowl of cereal up here. So what we'd have to do is we'd have to promote this back to give this up a level. This is going to be a great visual tool to see how many levels deep you have. If you don't like the initial WBS that it gives you, like you want it to have a specific number coding to it or have a letter and number recording, there's an easy way to go do that too. So you go up here to go to Project, WBS, Define Code. And so maybe say level 1, I want numbers. The next level, I want uppercase letters. The next level, I want lowercase letters. And then hit OK, you'll see that code preview is 1A, then lowercase a. And then it's redefined my WBS code up here. So for instance, this is WBS code 4, area A, and then sub area A up here. it can be really nice to pair your WBS with how you've divided up your project. So like say if you have area A on a set of plans and you can make your WBS match up with that, works incredibly well for communicating information. So when you can see, you're looking at maybe your logistics plan and you see this is area A, correlates nicely to your project schedule. So that's the basics of adding information to Microsoft Project. So a couple key things, to add a new task, simply type it in under task name. Before you do that, check if you're auto scheduling or manually scheduling. Milestone tasks are added with the milestone task button. Another way to do that, if say for instance, eating it is not actually an activity, that's just a milestone. If you give a activity a 0 duration, project automatically converts it to a milestone, which is nice. Create a summary task that allows you to see kind of the overall duration of something would happen, and then their WBS is kind of created as a function of that, and then add your WBS column gives you that key numbering to go look for those items. So that's adding task. Thanks for watching and have a great day.